Welcome everyone to the first episode of Grell Sound Lab. So this is a format of roughly 10 to 20 minutes where we will talk about headphone technology and about Grell. So how at this firm, how do we think about headphones? Where do we see the industry moving forward? What do we imagine the headphones of the future to be? And we of course want to share that with every enthusiast out there. And I dive right into it before the introductions and ask you, Axel, so your first high-end headphones, the OAE1, it has a lot of bass. We got that feedback a lot. So how did that come?
Yeah, it is an open type headphone and it has bass. So that's, not very common. So all the open type headphones that I know lack of low bass, especially. And a lot of people are used to that. They learned for many years that the open types don't have that much of bass. But I think that's not really what a headphone should sound. It should represent everything that's in the music, in the recording, and there is this amount of bass, and I want to bring that in an open type headphone.
Okay, so it's completely intentional, and now you say basically that what people are used to, all the popular well-known open headphones, they're sort of wrong in the way that they have too little bass.
Yeah, sorry, I made a mistake when I created some of the other open type headphones.
Yeah, but the rest of the headphones were quite good, so it's
okay.
It's excused. Just explain quickly to the listeners what gives you the credentials to sort of change what headphones should sound like, essentially. Yeah,
so I created headphones starting in 1991. So my first headphone was for Sennheiser HD 580s that developed into the HD 580 Jubilee, HD 600s, HD 650s, a lot of other open type headphones like the 500 range and HD 800. Yes, the HE1, so I was involved a lot in that and the tuning of that as well. And so I have some experience with open type and some experience with closed types as well. I know how headphones sound like and I know how real music sound like. So I worked as a front of house mixer for 10 years before I joined Sennheiser. And so I know a little bit about music and I try to get closer to, how music sounds in real life, and that's my intention.
Yeah,
that drives me. Yeah.
And obviously you've made some progression over the years. So from the 580, which was tonally really good, to the HD 800, which made a lot of space in music, and the HE1, of course, doing everything really good, basically. Quickly to me, I'm Jermo. I've been with Sennheiser for roughly 10 years, and I've quit last year to focus on my MBA, and now I joined here at Grell. And at Sennheiser, I developed some headphones like the HD560S. That was my first high-end headphone, so to speak. And it's very close to my heart because I really did the acoustic pre-development myself in my basement. And that is very unusual for product managers. And then I was involved in some headphones like the 660S too, which was quite well received. The HD620, I tried my hand at doing a closed back headphone at Sennheiser, which sounds quite good, and I think we succeeded. And overall, I think my skill at Sennheiser was really being very close to the community and knowing what people want and knowing what tools we had available and sort of matching that in a very efficient way. And I hope I can bring this sort of customer focus also to Grell and really help us build products that people really, really love. So that is our outlook for the future. And basically then segueing directly into the next point, when I first saw measurements for the OAE1, it was really quite impressive to me. So I saw this big bass shelf basically, and I thought, I didn't really think about how it would sound. That didn't interest me at that point, but I thought, wow, that's really, really hard to do from an engineering point of view. So I always ask my acoustic engineers, please do more low bass for the open headphones, and they were sort of, not sure. So my question to you is, Axel, what is so hard about doing a lot of bass in open headphones?
Yeah, so the cutoff frequency of open type headphones is defined by the resonance frequency of the driver. Unfortunately, you could not tune dynamic drivers with just the stiffness of the diaphragm and the suspension to very low frequencies, because then you get some tumbling of the whole system, and that brings noises when you're listening to in the range of 200-300 hertz. So the voice coil just touches the magnet, and so you need to do something else. To tune it down to these low frequencies, you need to add some additional mass, or as I say, I change the acoustical impedance behind the diaphragm, so it's not constant. It is getting less down to lower frequencies. So I virtually tune the resonance frequency from typically drivers in the range of say 80 to 110 hertz down to 40 hertz.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so that's 1 octave less. And so when you look at the curve, it's not a peak or highest point at 90 hertz or so. Well, it is for a lot of other headphones that I've made, but it's more at 40 hertz. And 40 hertz is in the range where you have the deep tones of a bass guitar, for example. And so that's the right place, because the bass guitar is something that you can clearly hear when you're listening to a live concert, but you can not only hear it, but you feel it.
Yeah.
And it's not only the bass guitar in a rock band, so when you're going to classical orchestra and the bass is playing, you can feel it. It's the acoustical bass, you can feel it, and the chairs are moving. So it's the acoustical energy that moves really something, and in this case, when you're in a live concert, it moves your body as well, not only your eardrums. And this is something that a headphone could not do. It can't move your body. And of course, when you have some dBs less already at 40 hertz, so it's that missing amount of acoustical energy there.
And I mean, incidentally, also our hearing gets less sensitive as the frequencies get lower. That is another complication. So if you have an open type headphone which has like a minus 5 dB at 40 hertz, then that really compounds the whole problem, that you don't have the feeling, you have much less in there. And somehow I think we all got sort of used to it because we had to. That's my interpretation of it. And I would actually segue into a very subjective topic, and which is maybe a bit more controversial. So something like resonance frequencies in a driver that is all very technical, it is measurable clearly. And a topic that is heavily discussed is bass slam. So that would be really where you feel the impact of something. And the interesting part is that some people think that also headphones can transport slam. So for me personally, I never hear slam out of an in-ear. I think like the older AG600 style headphones, they are also not the best at slam, and maybe there are, but on the other hand, there are some dynamic driver headphones that seem to be really good at it. So for instance, some French ones maybe. So my I would like to ask you, Axel, what is your theory around bass slam?
Yeah, I think it's there, and it's something that is really connected to moving mass. So you can feel the mass that is really moving, not only the mass of the air that is moved, but the mass of the headphone itself. And I'm not only working on the Grell headphones, but on the heavies, for example, as well. And the heavies, they have 2 bass drivers on each side. So, and you can definitely feel the slam there. Because the mass is double, and it's tuned in a way that you can feel really the slam. It's there, but that's a close one. But you can feel it with the Grell OE1s as well. So it is something when everything is very lightweight and just in the high frequency range. You don't feel the slam, of course, because you don't have this amount of air and mass moving. But when you have that, and I made it possible, then Yeah, it's not a lot of energy that is needed for that. It's all coming out of this normal headphone amplifiers. You should have a good headphone amplifier, but you don't need watts and watts to move the air. It's some milliwatts, and yes, it slams your hearing and your head, and you feel it.
Yeah. So you would say there's some connection to the driver mass or the diaphragm mass to
the total moved mass. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Because in the end, of course, there's always different like compromises you have to make as an engineer. Of course, ideally you make something where you don't have any idea that there is somewhere an issue or something. But for instance, some engineer that really only wants a lot of detail out of a headphone, he would want maybe a very, very lightweight diaphragm, and then maybe he gets a very resolving treble, but then you have no bass. And on the other hand, if you have a very, very heavy transducer, that may produce a lot of bass, but at the expense of the treble quality. So I think that's really a sign of an excellent headphone, that this balance is made really, really well.
Yes, I totally agree on that. Maybe one more thing. It's not proof, but it's an idea. So when you have more pressure generating headphone, like a closed one, a closed one, classical closed one, you have just the pressure. When you have a more open type one, and some closed ones are more open type ones, you have this pressure gradient thing. And I guess it's just, I have to prove that. I guess that will lead to more slam as well.
Okay.
When there is enough moved mass and there's enough velocity there. So then you have this slam.
Yeah. Might be.
But I have to work on that a little bit. Yeah. So maybe when you tune in the next time, we will have prove that. So let's see.
And that's maybe also good to know about Grell, is that we are also working with the University of Hanover. So there's an Institute for Communication Technology, and we are really working with them to advance acoustic science. And that is, I think, something that separates us from a lot of other headphone companies who want to build really good sounding headphones. But we really try to move the entire industry forward. And of course, that is also consumes a lot of energy, but we really think it's worth it. And I would really close this out with the last question, and that is, you now say that having a lot of added bass relative to what people know in open headphones is much more natural, and that is reflected also in the OA1. So could they get closer to that idea of really impactful bass by just adding a high shelf to their equalization to their headphones? Like whatever number, like 10 dB or something, and get a bit closer to your idea what really realistic music is, or natural music perception?
Yeah, so the problem with equalizers and shelving, I think it's possible to do it when it is done in a professional, or when you know what you're doing with the equalizers, you can do a really great job and get that. But it's something different when it's done acoustically to when it's done just electronically, because the acoustics interact with your head, with your hearing, with everything. The EQ just remains where it is, and there is no interaction. And but one thing again, maybe about the reasons why there is this amount of extra bass. So I just said it before. So it's one thing that is our body is moved and we feel the vibration when we are listening to an organ, to a bass guitar, to whatever, the bass drums. So it's really moving our body. We feel it and we add it in our brain to what we hear.
Yeah.
So there is this amount of bass. When you listen to an organ which plays tones down to 16 hertz, it's not audible for a hearing, but we can feel it and hear it in a way. And so this is something that could not be heard with headphones in a way. There's a trick how to hear it anyway, but I don't want to talk in this lesson about that. So this is one thing. You need more in a headphone, more bass in a headphone than with speakers, because you don't have this, I call it body channel, to your brain. And this is one thing. And the second thing is we all forgot that when you're listening to headphones, to loudspeakers, you're listening to two of them. So when you see the curves of a dummy head, they are measured with one loudspeaker. So it's curved like that. Oh, sorry for you, the bass is here. It's like that, and then you have the typical frequency colorations made by the dummy head itself. And it's somewhere at 0 dBs, but it's with one loudspeaker. But when the music is made to be listened with stereo speakers, so it's two of them, so you have to add 6 dB here, because the dummy head will hear the two loudspeakers, not only will hear the two loudspeakers with his right ear and with his left ear, so on both channels is the same amount of bass, so that adds easily to 6 dBs, and so you need this additional 6 dBs as well, to make it compatible with something that is mixed to be played back with loudspeakers. Yeah. And sorry, we all got that in the past 50 years, all the audio engineers who made headphones.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a first step to recognize mistakes and do it better afterwards. So thank you for your effort over all the years. So I think overall that was a nice glimpse, sort of, how we think. But it is also a very deep dive into a rabbit hole immediately. So you heard terms like acoustic impedance, where you may not immediately know what it is. And why would a second loudspeaker immediately at 6 dB? Why exactly that number? So to audio engineers that may be quite obvious, but we know that not everyone has the time to just do an acoustic engineering degree on the side. So if you'd like, please comment something about where you would like some explanation, so we can do an episode about that. What did you like the most? What didn't you like? What can we improve? And which other topics can we talk about? So we already have some ideas, so no worries. But we of course really like your input and really improve the series as we go. I hope you really enjoyed it. So for me, the time really flew by. I guess it was 10 minutes at least, but it felt like 2. So thank you for listening.
Yeah,
Axel,
for me it was great as well. So please put your questions in the comments, and we try to answer. But of course, we have to do some acoustics in between as well. So don't be angry when the answers are not coming very soon, but we will answer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a great day.